Welcome to the language of light. May I have the house lights? Isn't it amazing how light influences not only what we see, but how we see? I'm sure you remember the old flashlight trick from the Halloween days of your youth, and I couldn't resist using it in our opening sequence to dramatize how extreme uses of light can not only modify, but distort the contours of a face and turn it, without the help of makeup or any other device, into something quite unusual. Light is indeed a powerful ally in the creation of photographic images, and one that we'd best have on our side if we want to take consistently good pictures. During the next 25 minutes or so, we're going to learn the basics of a new language, the language of light. It's a language that will help us see the world in new and interesting ways. And like the language of words, there's virtually no limit to the way it can be used, or to the ideas, feelings, and moods it can create. The program we're about to see contains many beautiful images that reflect the magic and the mystery of light. Watch the program until these images and the information that accompanies them become quite familiar to you. Then go out with your camera, work with the light you find, and allow it to work for you. Try to achieve specific effects, then come back and watch this tape again. Make notes, and soon you'll find that you're actually able to use light as a photographic tool, just like lenses, filters, film, and the camera itself. And above all, have fun. Light illuminates our lives and the subjects we photograph. Through photography, we record visual messages, messages created by light and communicated in a language of colors, tones, textures, and moods. To use this language, we must understand the nature of light and its special qualities. Of course, we know that a certain quantity of light is required to expose a photograph properly. We adjust the camera's lens opening and shutter speed according to the intensity of light in any given scene. That process of adjusting the camera to receive the proper amount of light is called exposure, and as we well know, it's a crucial part of the photographic process. How much or how little light you allow into the camera has an all-important effect on the way the picture looks. If intensity or brightness is important as a quantity of light, it's also important as a quality of light. Intensity can affect the mood of a scene. In this picture, for instance, the light is coming directly from the sun to the subject. This bright light accentuates the difference between the tones. It produces a sharp, crisp image with high contrast that creates an energetic, almost aggressive mood. Light is softer when it's diffused by clouds, rain, or fog. In this low contrast lighting, the differences between tones blend gradually. These gentle shifts from light to dark areas create a more delicate mood. The direction from which light strikes the subject is another quality of light, and it too has a strong influence on the pictures you take. Sensitive photographers recognize this quality, and they can often control it. Now, you can't move a subject like this to change the direction of light, but you can move your camera to change your point of view. Or you can choose a different time of day for picture taking, when the sun is moved to a different position. It's the same subject, but the mood is entirely different in each case because the quality or direction of light is different. The lighting many people use for normal picture taking is front lighting. The light comes from behind the photographer, so light falls on the front of the subject. This direct front lighting brightens color and allows consistently good exposures. But you may notice that the pumpkins lack dimension and a sense of depth. That's why some photographers call this flat lighting. This is the same scene photographed from a different angle, so that the light comes from the side. This side lighting adds depth, dimension, a lifelike quality, and emphasizes the roundness of the pumpkins. Light that comes from the side at an angle to the subject produces shadows, and those shadows create a clear impression of the shapes and forms within the picture. Think of shadows as something you can add to your pictures by using side lighting to help show the dimensions of your subject. As we see here, side lighting can also add a graphic sense of design and detail to a scene. The shadows of side lighting can also be used to convey a sense of texture. Here, you can easily imagine the sensation of peeling the chipping paint from this lobster buoy. Keep in mind that you can achieve a greater feeling of depth when shadows are more prominent. Shadows are actually the absence of light, yet they help bring a lifelike appearance to the scene. It's also fun to look for shadows that make interesting pictures in themselves. Learning to see and appreciate the interaction of light and shadow is an important first step in using light as a photographic tool. The most dramatic arrangements of light and shadow often appear with backlighting. In this case, the light comes from behind the subject. The sun, the source of light, is directly in front of the camera. You can create strong visual impressions with backlighting if you're aware of its special qualities. Because there's no front lighting to expose color and details, the people in this scene become interesting shapes or silhouettes. We don't get to know them as individuals, but we appreciate them as pleasing and attractive forms that reinforce an overall mood. With backlighting, strong shadows enhance the sense of depth, adding a three-dimensional feeling to a scene that might otherwise appear ordinary and uninteresting. One pleasing effect of backlighting is the way it transforms the appearance of water. As light skims off the surface toward your camera, it creates highlight details, thousands of bright, tiny points of light that make the water shimmer and sparkle. When a subject is illuminated from behind, you'll find that a dark background will help focus attention on the subject, allowing its color and detail to dominate without interference from the background. When using backlighting, you have a choice of either including or excluding the sun. If you decide to include the sun, you may need a wide-angle lens to widen your field of view. This lens can sometimes produce the star-like effect you see here. Hiding the sun behind clouds can produce a dramatic glow around the edge. This rim lighting adds a sense of dimension and depth to the picture. You can also hide the sun to create a silhouette. In this case, you want your subject to appear underexposed as a black shadow, so you should set your exposure with a meter reading from the brightest part of the sky. Whenever you want to create a silhouette, remember that the background must appear lighter than the subject, so your exposure should be set for the brightest area in the background. When you combine backlighting with a translucent subject, you get a rich, lifelike impression. When the source of light is behind a colorful object such as this hot air balloon, it can explode with color. When low-angle backlight passes through translucent objects, they glow with life and color. As you begin to understand and appreciate the qualities of light, you'll see more and more picture possibilities all around you. Let's briefly review what we've learned so far about the qualities of light. Now, we've seen that the intensity or brightness of light can be a quality. Bright, crisp light creates an energetic mood, while softer, diffused light creates a more subdued, delicate feeling. We've also seen that the quality of light often depends on the direction from which the light is coming. Front light provides clear, detailed illumination, but it also makes subjects appear flat. Side light often creates shadows, which give depth and dimension, form and texture to many subjects. And backlight creates many dramatic scenes by placing the sun directly in front of the camera and outlining shapes in bold contrasts of dark and light. Speaking of contrasts, that's next in our discussion of different qualities of light. Most simply, contrast is the difference between the brightest and the darkest parts of an image or scene. Let's have a closer look. High contrast lighting is bright and directional. It brightens the light areas in a scene and casts dark shadows. Compare the high contrast lighting in this picture With the low contrast light that you see on a cloudy or overcast day, the difference between the light and dark areas is less severe and more subtle. In fact, shadows may disappear completely. In high contrast scenes, the light is intense and very directional. The brightness of the light produces rich, saturated colors. Details are sharp, and the shadows may be strong and dramatic. Most of us take pictures on sunny days with high contrast lighting. This type of lighting is appropriate for many pictorial scenes, such as landscapes. But when you're photographing people, the low contrast, soft light of an overcast day is ideal. It produces portraits that are more pleasing to the eye. On a sunny day, you can soften the lighting and reduce its contrast by moving your subject into open shade. Your subject will be more comfortable and won't need to squint due to the bright light. Soft, low-contrast light is also ideal for close-ups of flowers or other colorful subjects. Anytime you want to convey a soft, delicate, gentle feeling in your pictures, low-contrast lighting can help. The language of light can help shape the emotional and psychological response to your pictures. All you have to do is be sensitive to light's different qualities and aware of how those qualities can work for you as a photographer. Perhaps no quality of light is more important or expressive than color. The color of light decorates the world around us and brings our pictures to life. As you become sensitive to this quality of light, you can take advantage of the remarkable ability of Kodak film to record a wide range of rich colors. Depending on the weather and atmospheric conditions, the color of light can be warm or cool. Variations in color can change the feeling or mood of your pictures. On a clear, sunny day, you'll see a combination of warm colors in the patches of sunlight and a cool, bluish color in the shadows, especially in winter scenes. When taking pictures in shaded areas, you may also notice that blue skylight is reflected onto your subject, and the whites of the subject appear cool and bluish. This scene has a very cold feeling because of the reflected blue skylight. Just as the brightness of sunlight varies throughout the day, so does the quality of color. When daylight has an equal mixture of all colors, the church will appear white in color. Now compare this picture with another picture of the same church photographed later in the day. When the sun is lower in the sky, the color of light appears warmer to the eye. Some of the best picture opportunities of the day are at sunrise and sunset. The light you see at sunrise and sunset can add a special warm feeling to your pictures. Timing is the key. The natural colors of the Grand Canyon appear even richer in the warm light of early morning. The light that frequently appears at dawn and dusk adds a strong sense of mood. Here's a combination of evocative sunset color and backlighting for a truly pleasing picture. Sunsets tend to be photographed more often than sunrises, probably because they appear at a more convenient time. But don't hesitate to get up early in the morning and experience the magic of sunrise. Some of the loveliest and most serene pictures can be taken at that time. A good time to take sunrise or sunset pictures is when the sun is low on the horizon and it's relatively easy to look at. Actually, the best time for sunrise or sunset pictures may be when the sun is below the horizon. The early morning glow and sunset afterglow paint the clouds with rich hues of pink, orange, and red. You might say that sometimes there are two sunsets, one when the sun goes down and another about 30 minutes later when the sky will glow with color, especially when there are clouds to capture the colors. Often, combining the lights of a city with the color of the sky creates interesting pictures. In this scene, the sky provides good color separation for the buildings. After sunset, the sky will sometimes take on a royal blue color. This lighting condition usually lasts a short time, but can provide some colorful pictures. Keep your camera handy at this time of day. For lighting conditions like these, you may need faster film. You'll want to wait for the right moment to snap the shutter. but the results are well worth your patience and effort. Unusual lighting will allow you to take unusual pictures, pictures that communicate a feeling or mood that is unique. Look for mood lighting. Fog or mist, even bad weather conditions can present interesting opportunities. Many people overlook the photographic possibilities created by these kinds of weather conditions. But I'm sure you'll agree, a picture like this has a lot of atmosphere. Dark storm clouds can dramatize a scene. They animate this picture, complementing the statue of the wind-blown mariner who faces rough weather ahead. On rainy or overcast days, you can concentrate on close-ups. The soft light that's filtered through an overcast sky allows you to see and photograph more subtle variations in color and a wider range of hues. Rain and dewdrops often enhance close-ups of flowers. For this kind of picture, it's a good idea to use high-speed film to allow smaller lens openings or faster shutter speeds. When you use high-speed film and keep your camera handy, you'll be ready for moments like this. If you've only been a fair-weather photographer up until now, you're in for a real treat. Some of nature's most beautiful and arresting scenes occur in this kind of unusual light. The language of light can express a variety of emotions. Some of these moods can be captured on foggy days when subjects are shrouded in the surrounding mist. Learning to recognize the language of light is learning to see pictures in the directions of light, to see pictures in the reflections of light, and to see them in the color, intensity, and contrast of light. More than anything, we've spoken in this program about qualities of light, qualities that speak a certain language and that influence the way we see the world. The qualities of light we've seen begin with intensity, from sharp and crisp, like this, to soft and subdued. Direction is another quality of light. Frontlighting brightens colors and can give an abundant quantity of light, but many photographers feel that it often makes subjects look flat. Sidelighting creates shadows, and shadows give dimension and texture to your subjects. The interplay of light and shadow is one of the first things to look for in learning the language of light. Backlighting places the source of illumination in front of your camera and behind or in back of your subject. It too creates strong, interesting shadows and a sense of depth and dimension. Backlighting creates dramatic forms and silhouettes and can bathe translucent objects with vibrancy and color. Contrast is another quality of light that can affect the mood of a photograph. High contrast lighting is bright and directional. The differences between light and dark areas is less prominent in low contrast lighting. Color is one of the most important and expressive qualities of light. Colors of light can be cool or warm and will often change during the course of a day or an hour. Both sunset and sunrise are good times to see beautiful colors in the sky and experience the rich moods they create. Weather is often a factor in the creation of color, and it can also contribute to a variety of moods that find their expression in dramatic clouds, mysterious fog, or delicate mist. But whether it's color, contrast, direction, or intensity, the light is there for us to see and is ours to work with as we photograph the world around us. And that's the real challenge of the language of light, to see what it's telling us, to know where and how to look for the possibilities it creates. There's no doubt in my mind that the program you've just seen can help you learn this fascinating language, and I'm certain that your photographs will improve as a result. So by all means, go out, have fun, and learn to really see the light.